Check off readings.
They're operating on emergency power and are struggling to maintain altitude.
The more prudent choice would be to stay on the Enterprise and wait for a response to our hails.
Oh, you're right. Lieutenant Uhura, any response to our hails?
Captain, they have issued a request for immediate evacuation.
Oh, looks like I'm going.
Don't worry, Scotty, we'll be fine.
Always makes me nervous when he says that.
I mean, but you had this really cool situation.
I think I saw Terminator 2 when I was 4 years old, and I think if you see Terminator 2 when you're 4, it's definitely the greatest thing you've ever seen. And I was just so obsessed with it. Just rows of Terminators hanging up, and it was like a little, my dream as a 4-year-old to be there, you know. Basically, my research was a lot of just watching Terminator 1 and studying Terminator 1 and breaking down every sort of characteristic that I found in Michael Biehn and breaking down the particular moments and relating them to this script and things of that sort. I brought kind of a breakdown to Albuquerque.
Work with Anton at all in sort of forming a father-son bond?
No, in this movie we haven't introduced yet. Time travel has not been discovered, and so you just have this obscure relationship where I'm the son, and I'm a lot older than my father. As a teenage boy, it gets a little screwy.
Well, I didn't realize this until I saw the film, but like kids emulate their parents, and when I was watching a certain scene where you're kicking the robot in the car,
yeah.
I automatically thought of Edward Furlong's performance in T2, and I'm wondering, did you go back and look at some of the stuff he did to sort of kind of pick up on some of the nuances he had as a teenager?
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I thought was interesting was in this movie, Kyle Reese is almost the Edward Furlong young character, there had to be a bit of that brattiness and kind of snottiness as well, and that idea of like, aside from working with Michael Biehn's performance, there had to be a little bit of that aspect of, from just a sort of outside like a pop culture perspective. So I went back and rewatched T2 as well and tried to pick up on mostly his excitement. There's a great scene where he's like, all right, if I tell you to jump, can you jump? And he's like, so jump. That's like things like that, When they meet, you shouldn't play that Kyle ever knows who John is, but there has to be some subconscious spiritual connection between the two people when they meet, like a particular energy. And so that was one of my favorite scenes to play, was to find that moment, Terminator 2 I saw when I was 4 on television, and I thought it was just the greatest thing ever. And then after that, I had my parents get T1 on VHS, and I watched it and I loved it. So I've been a fan for like 15 years now. It's funny because I think when you're 4, you don't really relate to the love story. You're kind of like, but I did think he was such a great character. I mean, the older I got, the more I started to appreciate the film just as a film. But when you're younger, you do love that he protects her, and he's just so cool, So is Arnold. And Worthington teaches, Marcus Wright teaches Kyle Reese how to put a string on a shotgun. It's all these things. So there's an intertextual play between the first movie and this one, definitely, and the second one too.
And you have the line, "Come with me."
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, yeah, iconic.
I just... I'm just kidding.
Basically, for me it was, I looked a lot at T1, and broke it down and saw who this guy was, and it's the most interesting thing is to see where that came from and why he is who he is. So I think what you see in this film, and I don't know, Mick G, I'm right about this, is just, the development of this guy becoming the hero that everyone knows, and starting off and seeing that he still had the same aspects as a young man, he was still down to fight for what he thought was right. He would still, protect the people around him, and he would still fight for the human race, despite the fact that he's growing up in you can see the environment that he's growing up in is just hellish. So, but what you see in this hellish environment is a guy that with such pure spirit, despite whatever pain he's feeling, that is so desirous of becoming someone that can protect those around him and can protect, can fulfill his own personal belief and his own role of, helping.
Por su parte, Anna Kendrick no asimilaba la pérdida al referirse al fallecido actor en tiempo presente.